Hi, good morning. She Is Me conference. My name is Kat. I am an artist and I actually say good morning to you. However, I should be saying good afternoon because over here in the UK it's now 5 p.m. And I'm in the gorgeous, I don't know if you can see it, I'm just going to go from side to side. This is the beautiful Temple of Avalon in Glastonbury. So I come to you live from there. Um, I'm so delighted and happy to have the chance to speak to you. So thank you so much for having me here. As soon as I heard about this conference, I was like, yes, this is totally and utterly me. This is what I am all about. This is what my work is all about. But I need to explain it to you kind of in a backwards motion, because what I didn't realize when I started what I do now is what a huge impact it would have, not only on me, but on all of the women and the men who see my art and who look at my art. I didn't quite realize how my brain had been brainwashed by society and society's perceptions and society's the way that they look at women, the way that they look at how a woman should be, how a woman should look. You know, we are in this society where we have been conditioned by decades and decades of celebrating women who conform, who fit into a certain box, and who look a particular way. And this is not okay. This is not okay anymore. But I'm 45. I didn't realize until about 4 years ago that my brain was also in that pattern of conditioning and the patriarchy and thinking that I had to fit in to be enough, that I had to fit in to look a certain way, to be accepted or to be loved or to be valued even. So what I do now, I am an artist and I paint women in all of their glory, exactly as they are, to remind them that actually they are enough, they are worthy, because it's not okay for us to be constantly bombarded by the media, you know, by social media, by opening up Vogue and seeing these women all looking in one particular way, which means that 95% of us who don't look that way have this consistent nagging feeling of, you know, worthlessness or self-doubt or I'm not good enough. So that's basically what I do. I'll come back to that in a sec, but let's rewind 3.5 years when I was living a very different life to the one I live now. Sorry, I'm just having a quick drink of water. I was working as a teacher full time and was very active, played netball all the time, went running every day, had this life on the treadmill. I've got to look like this. I've got to keep my weight down. I've got to do this, and I've got to hustle all the time, and you know, to fit into the way that society is. And without going into too much detail, there was a big thing that happened in my life that meant that I was in my house for about 9 months. And I wasn't able to exercise and I wasn't able to even really leave the house. And I just ate and ate and ate and ate. And within about 9 months, I put on probably 4 stone in weight. So I'd gone from this person, this woman who was always trying to be slim because that's the way that I should be, because that's the way that other women look and that's the only way that's beautiful, to actually putting on 4 stone in a very short amount of time. And I was horrifically disgusted, you know, full of self-loathing and just you know, I was having a really hard time in life, a really hard time in life. And on top of everything else that was going on in my life, I was giving myself a hard time every single day, looking in the mirror. What do you look like? You've let yourself go. How can you look like this? You're disgusting. You're so fat. And it was this dialogue all the time, you know, underpinned by seeing on the TV women looking in one particular way, opening a magazine, women looking one particular way, going onto Facebook or social media, women looking one particular way, you know, with the tiny waist and a size 6 frame and these pert breasts with their nipples. You know, these women are beautiful and these women are great, but these women actually portray about 5% of society. So anyway, I was living in hell basically and giving myself a hard time. And I decided actually this isn't going to help me. This isn't going to work. This isn't going to be beneficial to my life. Okay, that's all I knew at the time. I can't go on like this. So I actually came to Glastonbury only about 3.5 years ago for the first time, and I walked into a different goddess temple that is also here, and went, wow, this is something I've never felt before. This is something I've never seen before. This is something I've never known. This goddess kind of consciousness, which is awesome. I went to a church school. I just thought that was the way life was. I didn't realize there was other stuff out there, and I was totally and utterly blown away. And I had a conversation with someone. It was around about the time of Beltane, the season of Beltane, which over here in the UK is May. And this woman who was a priestess had said to me, you know, Rhiannon, the goddess of love, she is you. She is you. You are goddess. And how can you love goddess if you don't love yourself? And I was like, whoa, this is big stuff. You know, I didn't love myself at all. So I left, and I was obsessed with going to look for art because it stuck in my head. You are goddess. You are goddess. You're not separate. You know, you're the same. But I couldn't find any art that represented me as goddess. I couldn't find any art that represented me. All the artwork, however beautiful, was very ethereal and very whimsical and very, you know, this gorgeous perceived shape of a woman. So I started to draw myself, and I started to draw myself 4 stone heavier than I'd ever been, with the rolls and the saggy boobs and everything, in this desperate bid and this desperate hope to empower myself and to start to love myself again. So I started adding glitter, and I could look at the images as goddess, as something divine, as beautiful, because they were glittery and they were, you know, compositions, and they were lines and they were curves. I couldn't quite at that time look in the mirror and say, oh, yeah, you're okay, you're beautiful, but I could look at the paintings and the drawings of myself. So that's how I started to develop my my style of art that I do now. Because what I didn't realize at the time, I was quite insular. I thought I must be the only woman who doesn't like their body. I must be the only woman who's put weight on. I must be the only woman who's struggling with this. But actually, the more I spoke to women, every single woman, save for about 1 or 2, came back to me and said, oh, I feel exactly the same. Oh, I hate my boobs. I hate my cellulite. I hate my bum. I hate this. I hate that. They were using the word hate about their body, which is the word that I use about my body. And I just was hit like a ton of bricks that society and the patriarchy had made us feel so bad about ourselves because of the consistent stream of images that we are fed of women and how women should look. And so I started to I made this conscious decision then that I was going to empower women to love themselves exactly as they are, one body at a time. So I started saying to other women, right, well, do you want me to paint you? Would you like me to draw you? And it developed from there. And all of a sudden, this explosion happened that I didn't even know was going on in the background. I didn't know that we had been so brainwashed. I didn't know that society had put us into this pigeonhole that if we don't fit and look like this, then we are not good enough. So I'm having another drink. And it was a real heart-wrenching realization for me that to see quite how deeply the patriarchy had ingrained itself into the brains of men and women. So I started spreading my artwork, and I started painting lots and lots of other women, and I started to really think about women in society nowadays and how I could help, because all I knew was that this was not good enough. You know, it was not good enough every single day to get up and live in a body and not love that body. It wasn't good enough every single day to berate yourself for not looking like the airbrushed women look in magazines that have been photoshopped to the max. This, you know, I swing between, I'm so passionate about this, I swing between this ferocious anger that this is the world we live in, and this utter hopelessness that, oh, how can I just as one person make a difference? So I had to bring it back. You know, about a year ago, I also started sharing my work on social media, which was a great platform for me. It exploded all of a sudden because there wasn't any really artwork out there like what I was doing, painting from real women, where women say, wow, I can see myself in your painting. And actually, if your painting is beautiful, then maybe I am. You know, those words mean everything to me, but there wasn't anything like that. And I started sharing it on social media, which was really exciting. And the platform grew. It went to about 13,000 within 6 months of people following and being like, oh, I can't believe that this is the first time that I've seen myself represented. You know, women all across the world. I had a woman who was 75 years old who got in contact with me and said, in all of my 75 years, I've never seen myself in art. I've never seen myself be painted beautifully as a goddess. And that was my aim, to empower women, to give them that power back that had been stripped from their consciousness without them even realizing. Because we run around, you know, women thinking, oh yes, I'm empowered because I've got the vote, or I can make this decision, or I can do this, or I can do that. But actually, this goes deep, this goes deeper. This is soul wounding, and these soul patterns that we're in, where we're trying to fit in. So anyway, about a year ago I was sharing it, and I was really blocked. I was really censored, and I was really restricted, and I was really blocked. And I lost my head about this, because the first project that got blocked was a project about breast cancer. And I had enlisted probably about 18 sets of breasts that had been touched by cancer. And the women were telling their stories, and I was painting their glorious breasts. Some had one left, some had none left, some had two, but with scars. Some were missing nipples. And I made it into a calendar to sell for breast cancer, so to raise money. And it got shut down. It got censored, it got restricted because of nipples. And I absolutely lost it, because there was nothing I could do to fight this. There was me, you know, against the patriarchy. So I made my real motto that I'm empowering women one body at a time, because otherwise it seems too vast to be able to do what I do. So how can I help you lot? Well, first of all, it'd be amazing if you checked out my website. I can see it on the bottom there, so you can see it in the bottom. Because what I would love you to do is listen to my ethos and what I've written on there, and look at some of the images. Because remember when I said to you 3 years ago, I had a conversation with Rhiannon at Beltane, who said, how can you love yourself? No, let me get this right. How can you love me if you don't love yourself? Because we are the same. Every single thing begins with you loving yourself and stepping into your power. You know, as women, we are repressed and stepped on and restricted and censored and told, you can't behave like this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's that time of finding a different way. And I know that until 3 years ago, I didn't realize there was a different way. I didn't realize that I was being so ruled by the patriarchy. I didn't even have a clue that that's what was going on. So I took it upon myself to change it. Having a quick drink. Because you know what? Too many women just do not realize how glorious they are, just exactly as they are. You know, you don't have to try and be somebody else or something else or look a particular way in order to be enough. And that's the memo that we have not got, because society tries to prove something different. So yeah, my first project was, as I said, painting myself, and then painting. Then I was started to get inboxes, hundreds of women sending me their photos of themselves naked, because they were desperate to have some validation and to feel empowered and to feel beautiful, and to know that actually this is like more than one facet within my art. It's the empowerment of being able to be a woman, but it's also the possibility of not having to be censored anymore, to step forwards and say, this is me, and I am okay, and I'm more than okay. I am absolutely amazing, and I am a goddess, because we don't get told that. You know, I'm also an art teacher as well as an artist. I'm an art teacher currently, but I've worked in schools as a teacher for 15 years, and we are not taught that it's okay to love ourselves. You know, we're taught, oh, you can't say that. Oh, you're being big-headed, you're boasting, you're doing this, you know, you can't love yourself, because you shouldn't do that. What a load of rubbish. You know, we're not taught that the most important things come from within, and that empowerment to stand up and say, actually, this is okay. Being me is okay, exactly the way I am, because this is a normal body. And my on International Women's Day last year, so 2020, where are we now? 2020, I did a project and it was called Survivors, and there were 85 women to start with. It's now gone up to 150. And this project was about hiding what we've been through. You know, hiding. I had women from abuse to rape to cancer, anorexia, you know, the women who just wanted to share their stories and feel the empowerment of letting something go. And I painted them all and had a really glorious exhibition, and they shared their stories, and with that becomes power. And what also comes from that is the sisterhood of holding a space and honoring other women, which people think comes naturally, but actually it doesn't, because women are just as ingrained in the patriarchal systems as men. You know, sometimes we feel that oh, it's the men that oppress the women, and it's this and it's that. Actually, we're all to blame. You know, we all need to look at our thought patterns and the way that we respond to each other, and the way that we lift each other up as well, and the way that we can hold ourselves as women and support other women, because we don't have to live with this patriarchy of ripping other women down in order to succeed. I did a post the other day. In fact, it's probably a post that's been shared more than any other post of mine. And it was about, I was walking down the street and someone was wearing shorts. A woman was wearing a pair of shorts, and she was just wearing shorts, didn't think anything of it. And then I heard to the side of me, you know, these other two women talking and saying I wouldn't wear shorts if I looked like her, if I had her legs. And I was utterly gobsmacked that society has broken us as women so much that one woman would even think to say that about another woman. You know, when are we going to be able to normalize normal bodies? That is my absolute aim. You know, if you opened Vogue magazine and you saw a model, who was your stereotypical model? Awesome, lovely. I'm not one of these, get rid of those, they shouldn't be there. Like, these models are glorious. But on the next page, have a woman of a different shape And then on the next page, you know, if there were women, so these women were talking about the cellulite on this other woman's leg. If there were women in magazines with cellulite and it was so normalized, then it wouldn't be that we would feel we have to hide ourselves. So many women were inboxing me saying, I haven't worn shorts for 20 years because of this reason, and la 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 la. You know, we are at this point in the world where we have to stand together. We have to normalize normal bodies. Because if we don't feel normal, we will never feel okay. And if we don't feel okay, we will never feel enough. And if we don't feel enough, we will never feel worthy, lovable. And this is where mental health starts to spiral, because you don't feel enough, because there's such strong pressure on women to perform and to look a certain way, like I said earlier. So yeah, that was my first project. And then I carried on painting women, because there isn't the potential for me to stop ever, because women are crying out to be seen. Women are crying out to be heard. Women are crying out to be empowered and to step out from the shadows of these restraints and these prisons that society have bound them with, and just to say, look, this is me. This is me. This is my body, and this is enough. I have constant battles with Facebook and Instagram. I never win them, because I'm one person, who consider my art sexual solicitation. Don't even get me started on that one, because that's a whole, I could talk for hours and hours on the fact that my body is not for your sexual viewing unless I want it to be. Why is a naked body automatically seen as a sexual thing? So that was another dimension. But my project after Survivors, anyway, that got shut down, was the breast cancer. It was called Golden Warriors, and it was named after the Japanese art form called kintsugi, where broken bits of clay and pottery and stuff are put back together really lovingly. You know, nowadays we're also in this society where we chuck things away. Just chuck it away, it's fine, we'll buy another one. The Japanese put them back together with this gold leaf, and it's just so beautiful. That's what I made these women's breasts into glorious kintsugi works of art, where their scars from breast cancer were painted with gold leaf. And that was shut down as well. So that was wonderful, especially seeing as it was a charity thing that I was doing. 100% of the profit of the sales of the calendars went to breast cancer charities. But that was shut down as well, sadly. Yet I continue every single day to wake up and to paint women and to empower them, because as I keep on having to remind myself, one body at a time is all I can do. And the messages I get, you know, you've made me see myself differently. I'd stepped out of the shower the other day and saw my stomach, and for the first time I realized that it's okay to have that, because you know what, life happens. You have kids maybe, or you put on a bit of weight maybe, or you lose weight, or you can't put on weight, or your boobs sag with age, you get wrinkles, life happens. And the time we spend worrying about not only what we look like, but what others think we look like and what others think we should look like, is so much time wasted. So yeah, I made a pack of oracle cards. I've made a few actually. My first pack of cards was a set of affirmation cards, which were line drawings and mixed media art of glorious women. They were 75 women in that project. And then I did a set of Kali cards. I work a lot with the goddess Kali, who is she's a Hindu goddess. I like to use the essence of Kali in my work, regardless of where I am in the world. Obviously, I'm based in the UK. And I have the essence of Kali with me all the time. I love her. So I bought out a pack of Kali oracle cards, and now I'm on to my goddess empowering oracle cards, and every single painting, every single goddess is painted from a real photograph. And as I said, women just cannot believe that they can see their bodies in artwork, that their bodies become not only normal, but glorious and magnificent and beautiful. They are real bodies. This is reality. You know, reality isn't this society that we live in nowadays, where you can put a filter on absolutely everything. You can have apps which like thin your face down and get rid of your bags. As I said, it's what is it, nearly 5:30 here today. I had a very sleepless night last night, and you know, I was saying to Lisa before I came on, oh, look at my bags and this, that, and the other. But this is real. You know, we all have days where we look like this. You might catch me tomorrow and I've got a full face of makeup on and my hair's been washed and I'm looking at like a totally different person. But this is reality as well. And this is what we don't get taught. Actually, it's okay to be real. It's okay to have a body that doesn't look like the body next to you. It's okay to honor yourself and to love yourself and to realize that that body that you live in is okay exactly the way it is. My project this year for International Women's Day was called Changing History to Her Story. Lydia Rawl was an amazing goddess artist, and I was really inspired by her. I'd never even thought about the word history having his in it until I watched a documentary on her, and then I started researching on all of these women who made such a difference to our world today, yet I didn't know any of their names. I didn't know what they'd done. The more I researched, the more I just fell into this rabbit hole of, wow, women really have been the unspoken word, you know, shove them to the side. So that was my project this year for International Women's Day. I think there are about 95 or something like that women modelled for that project. And the quotes from all these glorious women from her story were drawn onto their bodies and really celebrated the women who have been before us, celebrated the women whose shoulders we stand on today as women. That didn't get shut down, that project, actually, which is amazing, because they were just line drawings. So line drawn breasts and nipples appeared to be okay with Facebook. Then my self-love project got totally and utterly shut down because, heaven forbid, we showed flesh on social media. Anyway, Lisa said, you know, you've got half an hour to talk. And I said, listen, I could speak for hours and hours and hours on this topic because I'm so passionate about what I do. I'm so passionate about empowering women. I'm so passionate about painting them, making them feel glorious, making them feel empowered, self-love, body confidence, body positivity. You can see on the bottom of the screen is where you can purchase my prints and my cards and my canvas prints if you wanted to look at my art. But if not, just go onto my website and have a look at the bodies. Have a look at the women I draw. Have a look at their gorgeous flesh, their abundance. Have a look at their rolls. Have a look at their ribs. I don't just paint one shape of woman. I paint every single shape of woman going, because it's really, really, really important to me to normalize normal bodies. That's the phrase I want to leave you with, normalizing normal bodies, because, you know, this social conditioning we live with is outdated. It's time for us all to stand together and actually make a change, actually stand up, support each other as women, support each other as sisters, but support yourself. Love your body, love yourself, honor yourself, and own the fact that what you've got is not only normal. You've not only got a normal body, but you have got a glorious body, which is perfect in every way for you, because not one single other person is you, and not one single other person looks like you. And until we see a wide range of normal bodies out there, then things will never change.